Welcome back to The Exchange. Kamala Harris has raised over $200 million for her presidential bid since Joe Biden dropped out of the running on July 21. But in order to keep that momentum going, she'll have to choose her VP candidate wisely, and that decision could be coming any day now. She's set to go on a battleground state tour with her pick next week, reportedly. And CNBC.com political finance reporter Brian Schwartz has new reporting on the potential running mates and their ability to raise big money. He joins me now. So do tell. Well, I should say, what can you tell us at this point?
Well, so, one of the things it seems like the vice president is thinking about here, sort of who she could pick, is how these folks could raise money for her. One of the people she ends up picking as her running mate. We really narrowed it down to a list of a few that could help her there. Josh Shapiro, Mark Kelly, Tim Walz, Pete Buttigieg. These are people that for years has kind of established kind of these fundraising networks, some of them tied to unions like Tim Walz. Pete Buttigieg, when he ran for president in 2020 and had to drop out, he raised, close to, $100 million. Josh Shapiro, he's going to the Hamptons this weekend to huddle with some of the vice president's allies in the donor community. And so this is where things are getting really interesting for her in terms of who she's going to end up looking at to help her there.
Kelly, Shapiro, those names have been batted around. Bashir is one I see doing pretty well today on the predicted odds. Kentucky governor, correct?
Yeah, that's right. He's somebody he's got that name behind him in the state of Kentucky, right? His father is a big political player in Kentucky and coming from that key state, too, right? So he can have that appeal to more moderate voters. And that's something else she's going to have to think about. But when you look at somebody like Shapiro, who today was talking up this idea of cutting corporate taxes in the state of Pennsylvania, there's seemingly a reason why he's starting to bring up why he likes this idea, right? Why is he talking about this now as he heads to the Hamptons this weekend? It seems very interesting and key timing as they try to think about whether they should pick him or not.
Walz, do you think is on the short list? He kind of came to much more public awareness with his comment about J.D. Vance being weird. And that seems to now be, like you said, with his connection to the union, someone that the team is looking at more closely.
Well, yeah, you have to think about that because, if they want to solidify this union support, and in some cases, when you look at the unions across the country, some leaders of unions have been leaning into Donald Trump. And so if they want to solidify that support, Walz would be the person to go to. When you talk about somebody like a Mark Kelly, on the other hand, again, there's been this conversations throughout Silicon Valley of how do you bring some people in the tech sector back over to the vice president's side. Mark Kelly could be that person. He's raised a lot of money in his past Senate campaigns from rank and file tech people. So that could be another play here for her if she wants to try to raise money from that sector.
And Pete Buttigieg is making the rounds. We're hearing a lot from him lately. How important is it, though, that the VP candidate themselves brings a lot of cash when it's clear that Harris's campaign has been able to get quite a bit of traction with donors without any help at all on that front?
Yeah, it's a question for me of how long is this honeymoon going to continue with raising money just as her at the top of the ticket. And the other piece of that is whoever she picks, right, she's not going to be able to be in 20 places at once. You're going to have to be able to send your running mate out to raise money. And you need someone who can at least connect with donors in some capacity, whether it's a policy perspective or just somebody that they just personally like. And in my view, what's going to happen here from other reporting I've been doing on this is she's going to be out on the campaign trail. She's going to be going to do these events and doing these rallies. And the running mate will as well. But that person could also be deployed to raise money while she's out connecting with rank and file voters.
What's the deadline? Is it this virtual roll call they're trying to get done? So in other words, about a week, or is it till the convention itself?
I think we're looking at something next week. I think we're looking at timing where I think the report is that she's going to be rolling out this pick of hers as she goes on the road and campaigns. I think the deadline is, to your point, the virtual vote's coming up in a matter of days. But the truth is, they really have to get this done fast. I mean, Donald Trump's got J.D. Vance. You can debate the merits of what he's been doing with his comments and all that, but he has a running mate. She's going to have to do this quickly. I think they're aware of that. That's why they're moving quickly with the vetting process, but a very meticulous vetting process for everything I'm reading. And they're going to have to, to take their time, but also they have to move quickly at a good pace.
They always say it's meticulous, but it's still so different to go from. Now, Buttigieg, I guess, would have been vetted on the trail already, but some of the governors, this would be their first time through the ringer.
Well, that's right. Same with Mark Kelly, right? I mean, listen, it's one thing to run for Senate. It's another thing to be a governor. It's another thing, though, to be a running mate on a ticket for president. I mean, this is a different ball game, and the vetting process is going to be much more meticulous for that role versus anything these people have faced on the campaign trail for those roles.
Any risk donors would start to back off if they disagreed with the pick? I can't imagine any of these picks would go over that poorly with the people who are backing her.
Well, one of the things with Shapiro you got to keep an eye on is things where he's kind of ticked off people in the progressive community who rely on the Democratic Party. His stances on Israel. Could that hurt fundraising? Maybe, but the small dollar donor bases come back to the vice president anyhow.
Well, that will certainly be an issue to watch regardless. All right, Brian, thanks.